Polythene bags are one of the biggest contributors to environmental degradation in Uganda today. It is a type of plastic made from thin sheets, used especially to keep food fresh and in dry conditions. Whereas it contributes to products like shopping bags, its disposal has become a huge environmental issue.
So what happens when you drop polythene bags or anything made of polythene onto the water, maybe fish ponds or maybe marines like lakes or oceans, you're inhibiting life. These are organisms that are living beneath the water. They will not have oxygen. Remember, water has to be oxygenated for organisms to survive. They will feed on these phytoplanktons that will also want to have oxygen, or maybe also exchange in carbon dioxide, or carbon dioxide in exchange to oxygen, for them to grow and these organisms to feed on them. So polythene bags inhibits all that. Water will be deoxygenated, it will not survive. And in case these organisms try and digest this polythene or polythene bags, they are damaging the food chain. How, you might be wondering? They digest these minute or many quantities of polythene. It will directly go into their digestive system. And remember, polythene has a tendency of expanding or melting at very high temperatures, and it will solidify at low temperatures. So what happens when you cook, or maybe a bird in the line of food chain feeds on these fish? So it will also take in quantities of what the fish fed on, the quantities of the polythene that the fish fed on, and then higher organisms as well will feed exactly on maybe the bird that has taken. So as these quantities keep on multiplying or increasing, the quantities of polythene, you realize that the polythene are passed on from the lower levels of organisms to higher levels, and we have really seen the diverse and ripple effects of digesting polythene, maybe directly or indirectly, through the food chain, or maybe you yourself digesting it. And some organisms, like maybe cows that feed, they sometimes mistake these polythene bags for their foods. So they end up digesting them, and there is starvation, choking, death. So you realize that you're losing a lot of things in one.
While there are extensive environmental risks related to poor disposal of polythene bags, many Ugandans are not aware of the immense effect of polythene bags on their lives.
Yeah, I know some. I know it can harm the soil, but I don't see it a point because you literally pour it.
Ekintu kye bayita kasasiro tukifaako nnyo nnyo, era buli mutuuze yenna ayina akaveera kaateekamu ebisaaniiko nti emmotoka bw'ebezze tukola enkola nga yaggwanga mujje buli omu n'asitula obuveera ne tuteeka ku mmotoka.
Given the gross danger of polythene bags, environmentalists suggest ways of dealing with polythene bags to avert the would-be disastrous consequences projected for the future.
One of the unfortunate mentalities in the public out there is that it is an institution, it is NEMA, it is someone out there to look after the environment. And yet the environment belongs to us all. When you drop a cavera in the environment wrongly, you think NEMA is supposed to pick it, or KCC is supposed to pick it. When the floods come there, who will cross the road? Whose transport will be affected? It is everyone. So the environment belongs to us all. So what we are emphasizing now is public education, is striving to create an understanding for people to take responsibility. It should not be someone out there to look after the environment for you. It is you, it is us, it is all of us. The environment belongs to us all. Yes, we shall bring the laws in place, we shall give guidelines, but ultimately, when it comes to managing the environment, start with what is within your surrounding, within your immediate surrounding. In your homes, do you separate plastics as well? Do you put them in different bins from the decomposing waste? So there are certain things that have to be done from an individual's perspective, and not wait for institutions to look after the environment for you.
In the year 2009, the Parliament of Uganda passed the Finance Act of 2009 that imposed a ban on importation, local manufacturing, sale, or use of plastic bags in Uganda. But why hasn't the ban been put to effect?
NEMA has not lost the battle. The new law, which is the National Environment Act number 5 of 2019, which came into force last year around June, is one of the tools that was brought in place to curb the issue of plastic pollution. In the new law, that is specifically Section 76, looks at the management of plastics and plastic products. Now, that new law gives new guidelines on how plastics should be managed.
The Uganda National Bureau of Standards developed polythene bag standards, which are enforced amongst different polythene bag manufacturers. The Act also required that plastic manufacturers should have a recycling plant where plastic waste is recycled and that only polythene bags of above 30 microns should be manufactured.
Last year, I think it's last year that we had the last drives on those. Last year we were at two factories that had not yet registered with UNBS, and were also making below 30 microns. So those ones have been taken to court. I think there is a court event sitting today on one. Then this year, the reports that I have seen, most of the factories are compliant.
Initially, we wanted a total ban of single-use plastics, of coverers, total ban. But when the document reached Parliament and then there were discussions, it was agreed that there would be a limit of 30 microns. In other words, plastics that are below 30 microns are the ones that are illegal.
Every Ugandan has a role to play in saving the environment. If we put our efforts together, a better environment will be created for a better Uganda and the future generation.
At some point, we also had the campaign where every week we had an environment page, and we used to highlight issues to do with plastics. And consequently, at some point, there were improvements. Government came up with a ban on plastics, but somehow it was not implemented. It was reversed. Then government put another ban, which has also not been implemented effectively. So the role of the media here, apart from highlighting and creating awareness, we can also expose wrongdoing, the clogged drainage channels, the pollution on the lake, the guys who are smuggling, the beneficiaries, the people who are not doing enough, the big multinational companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola that depend on this, but then they are not paying back to clean up of the environment. So basically, that's what we've been doing for about the last 20 years. But the media does not work alone, and that's where the other weakness comes in. You keep on persuading and informing the public, that is fine. But then the key stakeholders that are supposed to take the decisions are different. You find there's parliament, there are traders, and achieving compliance is not so easy if the messages which are coming through the media are not being supported by the other arms of government.
So maybe you would be wondering what would be the way forward. The recommendations I'll give you, education alone is not enough. We need to combine all our efforts as the community, the legal team, the presidents, everyone that is involved in the community to make all this work. You need to substitute polythene bags for something else. There are natural fibers that people have now adopted to using, but you need to preach the gospel of using these natural fabrics to other areas. We need to maximize, scale up, and make people understand why we should need to substitute the natural fibers for polythene.